Back from the week on Locked On Coyotes the weekend as we get ready to talk more players and more Coyotes season in review. That's all on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes. Today's episode brought to you by betonline.net. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. It's episode number, I believe, 345 of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. What an amazing day it is for the show. Glad to be here. But we got a big show for you guys. I want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We're freely available on all platforms. I'm Robyn Leano. Carl Pavlik is right beside me. We got more player reviews to get to because guess what? We have a whole season-long stuff. We are only starting June, and we're still going through season reviews, Carl. What a time. What a time, right?
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs are still happening, so I feel like it makes sense that we're still talking about players. But we are coming to an end. We're running out of players to talk about that, spent a substantial amount of time with the Coyotes. Doesn't mean the players that we're talking about are any less important, though.
No, once again, we're going to depth players. Depth players made contributions to the team, smaller contributions than the key players we talked about when we had full episodes on, and that's why we're breaking these players up into three. On today's episode, we're going to be talking Christian Fischer, Antoine Roussel, and Liam O'Brien. All three players who made their own impact in certain ways, and excited to get to it.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to start with Christian Fischer, a player who joined Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz in speaking to the city of Tempe City Council last week. He didn't speak, but he was with Keller who spoke. I thought that was a great moment. Not exactly something that I was expecting from Christian Fischer.
It's definitely what I would consider like a leadership move, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you want a leader of the team to do.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't speak, Clayton Keller did, and Schmaltz and Fischer were just there as support, but still.
Yeah. And a player where I mean, it makes absolute sense that Clayton Keller would speak because he is ostensibly the face of the franchise at this moment. Nick Schmaltz is, his boy. Like, they're always together. They're together on the ice. They're together off the ice. That's absolutely fine. Christian Fischer, I mean, they arrived at around the same time. They're both from that kind of Illinois area, I believe. So, yeah, it was cool to see him. I like that off-ice leadership. There were several times throughout the season where I was like, man, Christian Fischer did a good thing. But his play just never really seems to kind of, show it as much as like his off-ice leadership and his on-ice leadership.
Yeah, he's always been like his performance has always been a little bit quieter. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing because I think he has a role and he's played it. I think a lot of people some people have considered him a penalty kill specialist who will continue doing other things and the kind of stuff that he does. But he's not a point scorer. He's not going to get, light up the lamp enough a lot of times.
So I looked it up. This year, Christian Fischer played 53 games, dealt with some injuries. Shorthanded time on ice, 44 minutes and 9 seconds. If we go back to last year, sorry, just having it rerun. Christian Fischer, 52 games, 94 minutes, 13 seconds. So it seems like Clayton Keller kind of stole his penalty kill time.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely a pretty substantial drop. I liked Christian Fischer penalty killer last season or the prior season, so I was kind of disappointed to not see it. But that is kind of one of my questions. If he's not killing penalties, if he's not scoring, if he's just kind of a depth guy, like, is that really going to be, someone that the team keeps around? I do think there's enough kind of leadership in there, but I do kind of wonder if he has a place in Bear's system.
Yeah, there is a role for him, but it's really hard to pinpoint it based off how everything has gone, right? The unfortunate thing for him is the fact that there has to be a decision made because he is a pending free agent.
Yeah. And he is a restricted free agent. I don't think he has arbitration rights.
He does have arbitration rights.
Okay, so he does. That'll be interesting to kind of see what happens there. I'm really not sure kind of what that is. I think the team, if they're interested in keeping him around, it shouldn't be too hard. He didn't have the best season. I doubt he's going to be commanding a lot of money. 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 total points. Up from 3 goals, 8 assists the season prior, but pretty far down from the 15 goals and 18 assists he had in his first season with the Coyotes.
Yeah, it's definitely a step back. And maybe it was just because he got outshined, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, he was never like the star, but like I think as everyone was figuring out their minutes in their role, I think he struggled to find it himself for most of the season.
Yeah. Christian Fischer is always a player every single season where I'm like, I liked a lot of what I saw, but I want more. And I'm never really getting that. And I do kind of wonder, like, the Coyotes are in a great position right now where they can absolutely, re-sign Christian Fischer if they think that he is good for the team in the short term. The fact that he went to that meeting, I say kind of like shows a leadership quality that the team could benefit from. So yeah, like they can do that short-term deal. Doesn't really affect the team in the long run.
It has no negative effects for the Coyotes just to give him a like a short-term qualifying offer. And if he wants arbitration, I don't think he would go to arbitration because it's not like he had 10 points in 53 games. Compare that to his first full season with the Coyotes, 33 points in 79 games, which was, and look at that, a significant difference.
Yeah.
So,
what are you giving him for a grade?
For a grade, for his on ice performance, I'm giving him a C-.
Okay.
But but again, I will shout out his leadership, and I will recognize that.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm giving him just a regular C. No plus, no minus. But pretty much right there with you. Just on ice, like I said, I want more from the guy. If he sticks around, I would be glad to give him one more chance. He's always a guy that I want to give one more chance, but just one of these seasons I want him to break through. He is 25, so he's still got a couple years before he hits his prime. But I've also gone on the record and said that I love like a player who can specialize in something. Like if he became like a dedicated penalty killer, like a third line, just kind of like shutdowns, like winger, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I just need him to find a role.
Yeah, he definitely needs a role. I'll say one thing about Fischer that I do like in general is like that in terms of pending free agents and how things go. I think I do like Fischer's chances on trying to fit better than from our last episode to the Kyle Capobianco.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it just makes more sense because I think because the way the way they've been, like, Fisher's he has more seasons under his belt, and he's shown what he is capable of. He just kind of took a step back.
Yeah. Fischer at least seems like he could be a player that you put on the NHL ice for most games in a season. Capobianco did not show that.
Yeah,
At least not yet.
but I think he will get capped at around around a third, fourth liner.
Yeah. At this point, probably. Which, like I've said,
It's not a
still
bad thing. He's
really
still
good.
in the NHL. He's still
Yeah.
in the NHL.
Still better than 99% of hockey players out there.
Exactly. We still got more to get to on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. We're going to talk Antoine Roussel and Liam O'Brien as we go through our uh, player reviews, our depth player reviews on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. Before we get into any of that, though, I want to let you guys know about our next partner from Athletic Greens. I run a busy schedule, which means sometimes I admittedly don't get all the daily nutrition and vitamins I need for the day. And that's why I'm glad I'm able to turn to AG1 from Athletic Greens. It is your one-stop shop of more than 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens to help you start your day right. Just one scoop of the special blend, and you're on your way to improve and support your gut health, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, gluten free, any of that. Best of all, it costs you less than $3 a day. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day, and that's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So we also have a favor to ask you guys. We put up a survey on our, with the Locked On Podcasts Network, so we can learn more about listeners like you and make your favorite Locked On podcast even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and don't like about Locked On Podcasts. You can go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. And when you do, and if you do fill it out, you can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. Once again, you go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to fill that out. Thanks all for your help. But let's continue this episode of Locked On Coyotes. Robyn Leano and Carl Pavlock. We are discussing depth player reviews. We talked Christian Fischer in the previous segment, but now let's get to Antoine Roussel, Carl. And one of the players who was acquired over the offseason in that trade that dealt Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Connor Garland over to the Vancouver Canucks so the Coyotes could get the number 9 overall pick in last year's draft. And he's also a pending free agent.
Yep. Definitely a good move by Bill Armstrong to acquire 3 pending free agents. I have thought this throughout the season. I think Roussel was probably the most consistent of the 3 players. I'm not saying he was the best. I'm saying he's the most
consistent.
Yeah.
He never had those high peaks or the low valleys. He just was about the same. Like, you can expect the same thing from him every game almost.
He was definitely a player where I felt like the Coyotes missed when he was gone, especially on the penalty kill. I think he did some good work there. Let me see if I can pull up his minutes, and hopefully I'm not way off on that. Third in the Coyotes in time on ice. But definitely a good penalty killer, a good kind of like defensive player that I think the Coyotes really needed, because there was plenty of time where they just they needed someone out there to just kill clock. 91 minutes, 36 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a nice thing to have. Again, like you said, that games that he were missing. The Coyotes did miss him a little bit, and he only played in 53 games, right? So
Hmm.
that's a lot of seems to be a trend where a lot of players get miss a lot of games with injury,
Yeah.
which unfortunately is going to happen um, with a lot of players. But the fact that this happened to the Coyotes was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the Coyotes do also, let's be fair, have quite a few players towards the end of their careers. So you do kind
And
of
they
expect injuries to kind of come up more then.
and doing that for a reason. Again, there's a reason why they picked up Antoine Roussel alongside Beagle and Erickson because they're the number one overpaid and number two towards the end of their careers. So it's like and on contract years. So it's like
Yeah.
we'll take it. We'll take it if it means eating cap for 1 year.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, he came in with 4 goals, 4 assists, killed penalties. Was there? I do think that there is it was a serviceable kind of end of his contract. If this truly is the end of his career, I kind of think it may be. Then he went out on like a strong enough note. Like didn't finish at the top of his career by any means, but he definitely like proved that he can still play.
Yeah, he did prove that he can still play, and if he wants to, maybe it's like somebody can bring him back in at the league minimum, right?
Yeah.
He's proven he's still capable. Um, he's probably going to end up being a fourth line winger, but that's fine.
Yeah. If let's say like Dallas wants to bring him back, just like kind of like be like, hey, you were here for a long time. We need like kind of the leadership role. We need someone to kill some penalties. Like, hey, serviceable, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely serviceable, but it's really hard to compare because again, he was like, we're talking about somebody who is um, among just that level. Who like we said, if he's going to come back, he's going to be a fourth liner, right?
Yeah.
And that's where his cap is, and like he didn't really, and I think his time with Vancouver, he never really capped above like maybe the second line, like maybe at like for like a brief period, but like he was like the third liner.
I mean, the most like points he ever had in Vancouver, 31 in 65 games, which you know isn't great, but isn't horrible. Um, Never really hit the 10 mark since the 2016-2017 season. So yeah, just I don't remember how Vancouver deployed him too much, but third line sounds about right for that.
Yeah, and 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 again, there's nothing wrong with being a third, fourth liner. Like we talked
Yeah,
about with Fisher, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You're still an NHLer. You're still proving that you're better than a lot of other players out there in the world.
yeah, absolutely. Let me see what he was making last season.
His cap hit was 3 million. His base salary was 1.9 million.
Yeah, 4 year, $12 million deal. That's not the worst deal I've seen. And honestly, like, was he overpaid? At 3 million, absolutely. Was he overpaid with that base? Yes, but probably slightly. If the Coyotes, I don't see the Coyotes re-signing him.
No, he
Uh,
won't be re-signed.
yeah, I'm going to give him a C. I think he was like right there with Fisher. Like I
Yep,
said, I liked his penalty kill. I thought he was consistent, but he didn't have the high highs.
I'm with you on there. Definitely a C. Being consistent is good, but again, you but consistent at average, just
Hmm.
around, just like, yeah, he played okay. He, he played his role that was expected of him. Really, like, remember we were joking around about $12 million fourth line.
Yeah, yeah,
So, like, there's I think it's just around there, just around average, which is again not terrible. You know, And just I mean, I will say this though. I hope, like, if he does want to play, like I mentioned, I hope he finds a team that wants him, and I think that in the team that could use someone like him.
Yeah, hopefully. If not, maybe he goes to Europe. Maybe he goes to you know, like transition into like coaching or front office because definitely seemed like he had a good hockey mind. I'm seeing he has French nationality listed, so maybe he ends up playing over in Europe. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
If he can't make it in the AHL or in the NHL, definitely would pay more than going to the AHL.
absolutely, absolutely. We still got more to get to on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. We're gonna get to our last player of the today. We're gonna talk Liam O'Brien in just a moment, but first, a quick word from Carl.
So betonline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports information. You can find all the latest sports developments, news, and odds, including this year's basketball championship matchup, the NHL Hockey Conference Finals, Major League Baseball, and of course, fighting news from MMA and UFC right down to boxing. Are you watching the matchup between the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers? Do you think the Oilers can come back? Head over to Bet Online to get some, information. And if you're feeling confident, maybe make a couple bets. Bet Online is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live bets, esports, and more. Head over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
So now let's finish off this episode of Locked On Coyotes to get to our last player of today for our debt player reviews. We're gonna talk Liam O'Brien, who was let's see, what was his contract? His last contract. He was signed to a 1-year contract
Yep.
with the Coyotes at $750,000.
And he has gotten
He's got an extension.
yeah, he's got term, doesn't have a lot more money, but 2 more years, 775.
Yeah, which
Which
seems reasonable for how he performed. Like, he wasn't the he wasn't the goal scorer, the point scorer, whatever. He was the big guy.
So yeah, this should tell you everything you need to know about Liam O'Brien's play this season. Well, not everything, but a lot. He played 39 games. He had 2 goals and a single assist and 106 penalty minutes.
106 penalty minutes in 39 games.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was definitely the top penalty, obtainer on the Coyotes. If you were one of the people who talked in the comments of Five for Howling or on Twitter that you wanted the Coyotes to toughen up, Liam O'Brien is the Coyotes toughening up. And for that role, he played it really well. I am not entirely sure how much that role is needed in hockey, but he played his role well, and I will give him all the respect in the world for that.
the enforcer is slowly phasing out in this era of hockey, but in the case for the Coyotes, with a team that was not playing, that we knew wasn't going to play well, that could easily get beaten up and emotionally, mentally, like, you needed a physical guy who can be an enforcer to kind of rile the crowd up, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, this team would be flat.
And let's also be fair. The Coyotes were a heavily penalized team, other than Liam O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Like he definitely, like, there were games where things were getting heated, and they put him on the ice to kind of, drop the gloves, try and like cause that, catharsis that sometimes seems to happen where you get like a fight that just kind of calms things down a little bit, makes the game a little bit less contentious. Like, and I think he did that well. He didn't take too many stupid penalties, which I'm always kind of worried about. Like the enforcers, like they take, fighting majors, but they also like get caught because they're typically not the best skaters and take dumb ones. I don't remember too many instances of O'Brien doing that. Yeah, I think his contract is good, and not too long, not too much money. Great signing.
It's a little risk to the Coyotes, and again, all they need is just that physical guy, just to kind of bring get the crowd going, do things like that, and to pick up a fight every now and then, right? Because an actual fight, because I think there were a number of times in which like he was not afraid to actually just take off his helmet and throw down.
Yeah. I don't know if he took off his helmet. I think that is currently an extra minor, taking off your own helmet.
It is.
Yeah. But he definitely was willing to drop the gloves, and if the game was getting chippy, like he went in there and punched someone in the face, which is what he was paid to do. I thought he had a well enough season. He earned an extension. I'm going to give him the highest grade of the night, or day rather. I'm going to give him a C plus.
I mean, a C plus. I was a fan of his physicality, and I love joking around about the Coyotes having their own version of an Andrews Kane.
Yeah.
Shout out to those who liked watching the Goon movies. And I think he filled his role as good as he could. I'm going to be with you on that. I'm going to give him a C plus.
I'm going to say I took a couple of friends to games, and they were not familiar with the Coyotes, and I'm like, that guy, the guy who looks exactly like Liam O'Brien, that's Liam O'Brien. Like, just long red hair, long beard, red. Like, he looks like a Liam O'Brien, and he was Liam O'Brien. I would give him all the respect in the world. Liam O'Brien. Got another 2 years with him. I know towards the end they were playing him with Boko. It'll be interesting to see if he makes the jump, and if the Coyotes have like two guys, like
two enforcers on one team.
Yeah, they could just play him every other game. I'm not sure if that is needed, but
hey, Boko got his first goal too in the NHL, so give him that shout out. But
yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, honestly, I was kind of surprised that Liam got 2. That is the most goals he has had in a season.
That's amazing. That really shows you the kind of role he plays. That really does. I just realized he was part of that the Capitals team that won the Stanley Cup.
Was he on that team? Because what year was that?
2018.
Oh, nice. So, do you play in the playoffs? No, looks like he didn't. So, I don't know if he got a ring for that then.
Yeah, no, he played. He played with Hershey that year.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
But
he stuck in Hershey for a while.
Yeah, it seems like he had trouble going between the AHL and the NHL. Found a role, found a spot, and gonna be with the Coyotes for 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 more years at a very friendly price tag.
Absolutely.
Anyways, that's just about it for today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, on Instagram at LockedOnCoyotes, and on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leano. Carl Pavlak is Carl Pavlak FFH. Interact with us, ask the question you might have. We might answer it back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.